Check this out. Whenever I download or upload anything, I can see the progress on my status bar without even needing to pull down the notification shade or open the appropriate app. And it doesn't matter if I'm downloading an app off the Play Store, a file off the web, or even uploading a TikTok video. The progress will be shown above any screen I'm on in a very discreet manner. And it's all thanks to this app called Download Progress Plus. On top of that, I can even change the position of the progress bar and the style to this circular option. Now when I do pull down the notification shade, I can quickly access my to-do list, or my favorite apps, or an article I'd like to read later, a person I need to contact, a place I need to visit, or anything else. That's right, with an app called Ruppu, I can put just about anything in my notification panel to access it later on in the day. And you're not just limited to one pinned notification. They all get stacked and minimized so that they don't clutter up anything. Then within Ruppu, you can see everything you pinned or unpinned, create some more items, or delete them all. Plus, for that cherry on top, the UI is beautifully done with Material You theming. Speaking of Material You theming, I just dropped these new Material You widgets that are really stunning. One of them lets you keep track of the time remaining in the day with a progress bar, and another gives you the weather forecast in a beautiful looking format. Combine them with your modern new wallpapers and you'll definitely improve the look of your home screen. Anyways, if you're on Android 14, you may not know this, but this update finally lets you see your phone's battery health and the number of charge cycles it's had since you got it. But it isn't easy to access since this information is buried underneath the OS by Google, meaning that as of now, you can't access it within the settings. But don't worry, because with a newly released app called Batt, you can still obtain this battery information. On my end, I found out that I've charged my Pixel 7 Pro over 200 times since I got it. And luckily, the battery health is still at 100%. And the app can do this because it's calling on some new battery APIs that are only found within Android 14. Extremely useful, and I'm sure Google will also create its own app or include this information in the settings sometime in the future, but for now, all we got is this Batt app. By the way, if you download at least one app from this entire video, a quick thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. Plus, since my birthday is in July, I decided not to include any sponsors in this video so that you guys can truly enjoy the best Android apps without any interruptions. So double thumbs up for that. Okay, here's something cool. I've completely remodified the look of the Pixel launcher on my Pixel 7 Pro with something called Pixel Launcher Extended. This has let me update the face of the at-a-glance widget to a much more modern design, even changing the look of some of those extra at-a-glance alerts. It provided me with more grid options to choose from, so I could get a bit more flexibility when placing multiple widgets and icons on the home screen. It also supports many more themed icons, so the home screen can finally have a consistent theme. I can also change the icon shape to anything I'd like. And within the home screen settings, it brought to life a new hidden menu called Developer Options. In this menu, I can access a bunch of different feature flags, which are experimental features that Google developers are still working on. I enabled one called Enable Floating Search Bar, and that instantly repositioned the search bar within the app drawer to the bottom of the screen. That way I could easily search for apps with one hand. Overall, it's a fantastic tool, but here's the catch. It only works on rooted devices, and it only works on devices running Android 13 AOSP, like the Google Pixels. Or if you flash an AOSP custom ROM running Android 13, that works too. Sorry to let some of you down, but here's something that will work on every phone out there. You know how on the Nothing Phone launcher you can enlarge any icons? Well, you can get this same exact feature on any launcher by downloading Giga Icon. It lets you enlarge any icon and even lets you change the shape of the icon to something more rectangular. It looks excellent with certain apps like Amazon or Netflix, and no matter how large you make any icon, it'll still have excellent quality. The way this works is that all of these gigantic apps are just widgets, so they're really easy to create and modify. It's a great way to launch your most used apps much more easily, or for some older folks whose eyesight isn't as good as it used to be. Next, I wanted to show off probably the craziest launcher I've ever encountered. It's called Jarvis Sci-Fi Epic Launcher, and it definitely lives up to the name. At first glance, there's a lot to handle, but once you start tapping around, you'll probably get shocked at how well everything works. If I tap on the clock, it'll instantly zoom in and give me more information about the time and date. Then I can tap on the outside to zoom back out. and tap on a different icon like this globe to get shot into the latest news. And I can keep doing this with most other icons on the home screen. Obviously, the biggest thing they're revolving the launcher around is that giant glowing button in the middle, which brings up their voice assistant. They call it Jarvis, which is Iron Man's voice assistant if you haven't caught on yet. But it just does basic commands like opening apps or changing the theme, nothing crazy. You can also swipe to the right to open a category of your apps, then swipe to the leftmost screen to land on the widget page. Finally, swiping up on the home page will bring up the app drawer. There's a lot more to dive through and tons more settings you can modify. It's definitely something fun you should explore for yourself. Now let's flip the script and show off some fun games to pass the time. Coffee Golf is up first, and it's a really satisfying golf game with a twist. Of course, just like any other golf game, you're trying to get the ball into the hole with the least amount of strokes possible. The controls are pretty straightforward. Just pull back on the ball with your finger to find out how far you like to launch it. Plus, you can use different golf clubs to improve the accuracy of your shot, depending on the distance. But what makes this game different from the rest is that each course has 5 different flag sticks randomly spread around the map. So to win, you need to make the ball into all 5 holes. Now here's the twist. You can only play this game once a day. That's right, it's got the same concept as that popular Wordle game where everybody plays the same course, and each day it's a completely different course. And the goal is to try to beat your personal stroke score from the previous day. It's a really interesting idea, to say the least. Next, we have Fireball Wizard, a platformer game with a pixelated design to give you that classic arcade feel. It's easy to get the hang of, and the controls are also easy to manage. The gameplay and storyline aren't anything special. It's really just a game to pass the time while you're on the toilet or in a waiting room. You get to play as a wizard, and in each stage you're just trying to get from point A to point B without dying. Of course, you'll encounter many monsters in between, so you'll need to avoid them or just try shooting them with fireballs. You even get extra spells like the ability to freeze the monsters for a set amount of time to quickly run past them. But if any of them do manage to hit you, then you'll lose a heart. If you lose all 3, then you'll need to start the level over. Eventually, you'll also need to do boss fights, which gets pretty intense. I personally like it because each world has different types of monsters that try and attack you, and it keeps you locked in, hoping that you complete the stage. Moving on, Undawn is the most popular game on this list, and surprisingly, it only just got released last month on the mobiles. It's also available on PC too. It's a free-to-play open-world survival game where you're dropped into a zombie apocalypse world, so things do get pretty intense off the bat. Still, if you're into these type of violent games, then you'll love this one, especially since it's also PvP, so you can play with your friends and join others to destroy hordes of infected zombies. Even gigantic ones if you play long enough. I like it because it's got a pretty big world to explore and you can do many things including drive vehicles, rebuild ruins, upgrade your weapons. I mean, you can even cook, and there's a lot more you can do. I do have a feeling that it could become a pay-to-win title though. I mean, that's just how it usually goes with most open world games nowadays, especially on mobile, but hopefully I'm wrong. And what also sucks is if you have a budget or a mid-range device, then this game will be pretty laggy, even making it unplayable on some phones, so that does suck. I'd say this game is meant for more higher-end devices like the Galaxy S23 Ultra or OnePlus 11 Pro. Still, since it's completely free to download, I would give it a shot. Another great action-packed game is Payday War Crime. I mean, the Payday franchise doesn't need much introduction, but if you're not aware, you basically play the role of a criminal to take on high-stake heists on a contract basis. You can choose whether to go in with stealth or go out with a bang and start shooting everything in sight. It's a really fun game, but again, you'll need a higher-end device if you want realistic-looking graphics. Otherwise, it won't be that attractive. Still, since it's completely free to download, I don't see why you shouldn't give it a shot. Anyways, click this playlist right here to watch the entire Best Android App series from even years ago. I definitely recommend you binge watch it because you're going to discover so many amazing apps. Either way, thanks for watching and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Kapow!